we're going to start today off differently. We're going to start today off talking about Big Jeff. Now, some of the OGs text me from time to time, and we check on each other as men. And I gave Jeff something that I learned from watching Sean Ryan podcast, and I can't remember the guy, but he was saying, wake up before everybody else, 15, 20, 30 minutes. Don't touch your phone. Don't turn on the TV. Don't turn on the radio. Get the Bible, read a little bit, random pieces, and just sit in quiet and just meditate, pray a little bit. Then start your day. And then once you start your day, when everybody else around you starts with the chaos, when they start with the chaos, you already have grounded and centered yourself for the day. So when people are doing God knows what or making all kind of noise around you, you won't feel that. Like if you just wake up and then your old lady is saying something to you, or you just wake up and your job is calling, like you already kind of spun. It gives you a chance to uncoil a little bit and unpack. So when things come your way, you're a little bit more calm, like, oh yeah, cool, that ain't about nothing. All right, let's do this. You know what I'm saying? Like your kids is crying over spilled milk in the morning, but you're good. You're not even paying none of that no attention because you already, so it's a thing that I do. I promise you, it'd be so peaceful and so quiet if you get up 30 minutes before everybody else in your house and ground yourself before the day start. Now, that's just giving y'all a little bit of, sprinkle me, man. Give you a little bit of that. All right. Let me say what's up to everybody in the chat. We're going to get into today's topic. Life get busy, but I'm always around. Cam was always first. Jay Frank, Mr. Swerve Casanova. Mr. Swerve Casanova in the building. He said somebody you didn't see on the list was Cole Payton. Now, let's get into this list that I'm about to show y'all. Y'all remember when everybody said I was crazy? When me and Romels was the only people in the Titans fan base saying, hey, we should go after Cam Ward or Shador, whoever they likes the best. At worst, if we trade back, there's like Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe. Y'all remember that? Nah, man, 2026, it's going to Arch Manning and Drew Aller and Nico Lava and Lenore Sellers and Kay Klubnik. You should tank for Aller. Y'all remember that? They had the t-shirts and they had tank for Aller. He's going to be way better than Cam Ward and Shador. These guys are going to put Cam Ward and Shador. It's the worst draft quarterback class ever. All that nonsense, right? And I calmly say, all right, we're going to see when y'all say wait till next year, all those people. And let's start with one, Dan Orlovsky. 2026 draft class could be loaded with Arch Manning and Drew Aller, Lenora Sellers, Garrett Nussmeier, Nico Lama, Kay Klubnik, Sam Levitt, John Mateer, Carson Beck, Dante Moore, Malachi Nelson. I mean, what happened to these guys? What happened? Fernando Mendoza, Heisman, put the belt on everybody. Consensus, #1 overall pick. Nobody's clearly no debating. This ain't URLTV.tv. This ain't battle rap. We ain't got to debate this or do no poll. Fernando Mendoza, #1, going to be on the Las Vegas Raiders. Tom Brady in the office. New head coach Kubiak with Bowers and Genty. That's Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll gone, right? Argue about the running back stance another day. Right? Y'all remember that? Who's the #2 quarterback? Ty Simpson from the University of Alabama, a person that nobody even thought would be a starter. But he came in and did his thug thing at Alabama. Ty Simpson, when they wasn't getting him killed, making him throw 40 times a game because Bama couldn't run the football, was throwing laser beams, 4th down under pressure, calling out plays, stepping up in the pocket, throwing rockets, right? He just hasn't had a lot of starts. So I would like to see him play behind Matt Stafford or somebody like that and get a chance to chill. Case in point, people was talking about dual threat quarterbacks, talking about Nico Lava and John Mateer and Lenore Sellers. Like Jalen Milroe wasn't the most electric QB that they have seen in such a long time. Who was a better dual threat running quarterback than Jalen Milroe? And he got to go to the Seahawks, sit behind Sam Darnold, and win a Super Bowl his rookie year holding the clipboard. Sam Darnold's got 2 more years left on this deal, and then like year 3, year 4, Jalen Milroe has a chance to be like Jordan Love and really get to learn the offense and come in at the right time with JSN and Rashid Shaheed and Bobo and all the players that they got around him on the Seattle Seahawks team. So I said all that to say this. Look at this list. Arch Manning, Drew Aller, Lennar Sellers, the guy from it was Arkansas, had the best combine from the athletic quarterbacks. Nico Lemon Lava went to UCLA, and then UCLA's quarterback went to Tennessee and outplayed him in Tennessee. Cade Klubnik, Clemson, Dabo Swinney, Sam Levitt, Arizona State without what's old boy on the Giants running back, I can't think of his name right now. Don't matter. John Mateer, Oklahoma. Man, John Mateer might as well start playing wide receiver because John Mateer ain't throwing no football. He's a great athlete, but he need to be Taysom Hill. And Carson Beck, I will say Carson Beck, a person that I doubted, left Georgia, winning the SEC championship against Texas, transfers to Miami behind Cam Ward after he broke all the records, and went to the national championship, and Carson Beck did his thing. But we know that Miami defense and their run game, Carson Beck have very, 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 very pedestrian numbers. But if you put Carson Beck in the right system where he wasn't a day one starter and let him learn, I think Carson Beck has the potential to grow. But then you got to question a kid that's probably made the most money in NIL out of quarterbacks of damn near anybody. Carson Beck just need to go to SEC Network with Greg McElroy and start being a commentator. He don't even need to play football. Just take his rookie deal, put the money with the NIL money, because his money ain't gonna be nowhere near the NIL money he was getting. Like Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers could have got $10 million if he went back into the portal. He didn't go into the portal. He didn't follow Carson Beck's footsteps. And he wound up going to the Dolphins and getting $8 million in 4 years. And now they have Malik Willis. Has got a big deal in front of him. So he's got a long road ahead of him to trying to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Dante Moore opted to go back to college along with Trinidad Chambliss after he fought his legal dispute. And here we are, like what happened to this super studied draft class? It's supposed to be so much better than Cam Ward and Shador. You're going to be hard pressed to make me think anybody on that list could outplay Jackson Dart and Tyler Shook. We didn't get to see Will Howard. The Pittsburgh Steelers opted to play Mason Rudolph instead of him. We seen Riley Leonard play so well in Indianapolis that they called Phillip Rivers to put down the grandbabies and come play. So I mean, who knows? It's like really, teams getting the second wind of Tua and Kyler Murray and Geno Smith. These teams that are getting to play veteran quarterbacks for $1 million next year because another team is paying the bill probably is a far better option than what this draft class turned out to be, which is one that was actually weaker than last year's quarterback class. So with all that being said, undefeated. Say it with me. Undefeated. And the trolls will still be inboxing me instead of coming onto my posts or coming into the streams and apologizing, saying, you know what, Shabba Buddha, you were exactly right. I was exactly wrong. I hated Cam Ward and Shador Sanders. I hated his daddy so much that it's like, come on, bro. Like, it's like, at some point, like, some of y'all even bought into Dylan Gabriel being better than Shador last year, and God knows why. All right. So, with that being said, who is going to be, looking at this list, the quarterback that gets drafted that nobody thinks much about, but winds up making some noise if he gets in the right situation? Who's the quarterback? Let me get into the chat so let me see who y'all think. Lil D said Drew Aller gonna ball. Dan Orlovsky said Ty Simpson the best quarterback in this upcoming draft. Scatterboo is who I was trying to think of. Scatterboo. What's good? Nah, Charles D. So who's gonna be the quarterback on this list? Because obviously Arch Manning, Dante Moore go back to school. Who is the person that's coming out on this list that nobody's thinking about is probably gonna be the best? I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what happened to him last year. I honestly don't. But I think like maybe you could say like maybe Ty Simpson and Garrett Nussmeier had injuries that held them back this past year. You could also say that about Drew Aller, if I'm being fair. K. Klubnik, could be. I mean, I've doubted him before. He's proved me wrong. Carson Beck could get in the right situation and improve. Only thing about Carson Beck is like, what Carson Beck are you getting? Are you getting the Carson Beck that's going to light it up with the cross on his face? Or are you getting the Carson Beck that's going to look like he got the 1,000-yard stare in World War I in the trench warfare, just throwing 4 or 5 picks randomly? I mean, I think that's the question that you got to ask yourself. Like, which one of these guys do you believe in? So we're going to narrow it down. I'm going to say Drew Aller, Nussmeier, Carson Beck. Probably the 3 guys that if they got in the right system could learn and could be decent. Yeah, Geno Smith's back on the Jets for free. For the free 99. Corey. He said Carson Beck is fool's gold. I mean, it's the thing though. Like Carson Beck outperformed everybody on this list last year in a new system. He left Georgia, and I don't think you could find anybody that thinks that Gunnar Stockton is better than Carson Beck. Even though Gunnar Stockton did what he needed to do, like Gunnar Stockton is like the definition of mid. Like a very motivated, very like a student of the game that may be limited talent wise. But I mean, Carson Beck did take Georgia to the brink last year, get hurt, and then go to Miami and take Miami to the brink. So you got to give him that. Charles said Garrett Nussmeier. Yeah, I think that may be my dark horse that Garrett Nussmeier may have just had like an anomaly of a year and given the right situation. Or he could turn out to be Tennessee Titan legend Zach Mettenberger's clone. I kind of got that feeling. Like, is Garrett Nussmeier going to turn into Joe Burrow, or is he going to turn into Zach Mettenberger? You know, it's like there's a fine line when we talking QBs because, you know, like only God knows who's motivated to really put in the work and the time and get in the right system to succeed as a QB in the NFL. He said Gunnar Stockton. But Corey, you know Gunnar Stockton is like a super good role player, but Gunnar Stockton ain't going he's not gonna do nothing fancy. You know what I'm saying? Like Gunnar Stockton ain't finna give you nothing fancy. He's gonna be so middle of the road. Q, come on, man, give me some shot. Like you could say like they thought Drew Aller was gonna be Josh Allen Jr., but to me he got that deer in the headlights in the big game thing, and the way this season went and with his injury, like I don't know if Drew Aller ever returns to be what people thought that he was going to turn into. K. Klubnik is a guy that I don't know. Like you're in Clemson, they didn't have a really tough schedule. I don't know. He just fell off a cliff. You know, to me, he didn't look any different than DJ Ungulumulumulay. You know what I'm saying? He didn't look no different than Cuz. Like, and I thought he was supposed to be the one to get Clemson back on the map. You know, Clemson had that run of Deshaun Watson and Sunshine, And you just thought at one point Dabo was gonna just pump out first round NFL quarterbacks, and for whatever reason, like he has not been able to get anybody to stabilize that offense. Like you see Clemson games is like watching paint dry. 3 yards in a cloud of dust is what they've turned into over there. I think John Mateer may be a person that may change positions in the NFL. I don't think he's got it to throw, but I think he's an incredible athlete and competitor though. And what's crazy, if Dante Moore and Trinidad Chambliss come out in this draft, they would be fighting, probably saying that Dante Moore is probably quarterback 2. And then there would be people that argue Trinidad Chambliss over Ty Simpson. It said Nico in the right system. Nico who? Lama Lava? No. Fool's gold. Tennessee offense looked better without him. When I seen him at Tennessee on 4th down, run out of bounds on 4th down without throwing the ball, I knew that this ain't the guy that's going to turn it in, going to be able to turn it on. Bro, if at any level of football, it's 4th down in your life and you just run out of bounds with the ball without throwing it, you can't be my QB1, Corey. I'm sorry. That's never happening, cuz. EJ, Nito. Sunshine. Bro, I mean, what else do we call him other than Sunshine? And speaking of QBs, while we're on this list, I got something that I wanted to segue into with one of my favorite content creators in the content space is Cam Newton. Everybody know how I feel about Cam Newton, and I'm a Bama fan. And I remember being in Auburn with my brother and my cousin and watching Cam Newton play against Arkansas State, and we just all looked at each other at the table with Bama shirts on, like, we in Auburn. We have Bama shit on. We like, bruh, what is this robot that Auburn ain't got? He took the most mediocre Auburn coaching staff and Auburn team with Nick Fairley and won a championship and beat Oregon. By the way, Oregon still hasn't won a national championship since in the history of man. You're the college version of whatever other teams I troll. But the crazy part is, you know, all that he went through with his dad and the Mississippi State and the bag man and how the media treated him and, you know, how they did Cam Newton, and then he won the championship and went into the NFL and had a great career. It's just to go back and say, like, none of those grown men ever apologized to Cam Newton for how they treated him as a young man. Like, bro, like, we're in the NIL era where kids in high school football get 6-figure checks and it's okay. And at that time, we all knew the situation, and they was just like having a witch hunt for Cam Newton. And it's some people, no matter what Cam Newton does, he could cure cancer. They're still going to dislike Cam Newton because they're going to say he's arrogant. But it takes a certain level of confidence to go through what he went through, going from Florida to Blinn College winning, to winning at Auburn, to winning in the NFL, MVP, the dab, the Super Bowl run with the Carolina Panthers. Like, bruh, it's just one of them things where you just have to say, like, some people don't like Cam Newton because of who they think, like, it's a person they never met. It's like his character of how he dressed, or he's too arrogant or whatever, you know, whatever. And he makes some very great sports quotes. And it's like, how can you discredit somebody who was a Heisman, who was a champion on multiple levels, on multiple teams, like, and just be one of the best pure athletes and football players we've ever seen come through the sport? And then people are like sitting around eating potato chips with stains on their shirt, discrediting his thoughts. So when he was doing the whole spill about the game manager, and I'm like, it actually makes sense. Some athletic quarterbacks, you rather wish they was a better game manager than athletes sometimes, like Josh Allen fumbling before halftime in the last year's playoffs. Or you go and you say, man, this guy's so much a game manager, he never takes any chances. He never throws the ball downfield. Even when this guy wide open, people run Tannehill. You got A.J. Brown running up the sideline against the Ravens and you wind up throwing the ball to Khalif Raymond and that Marcus Peters on Khalif Raymond, and that's you throwing a 15-yard dig route the same way he threw it to Nick Westbrook or Kenne when he had AJ Brown open in the Bengals game. Like, we're not going to get back into that. We're not going to talk about the Bengals game and the pain and things like that, right? But it just goes to show that, like, some people will not like the messenger so much that they'll just discredit the message, right? So today I'm watching Jason Whitlock, a person that I can't stand him on the internet, have a conversation with Cam Newton. And this one thing you got to respect about Cam. He'll bring Charleston White on. He'll bring Jason Whitlock. He'll go see Wallow and Gilly. So it's like, even if he do have a spill with somebody, the one thing I respect about Cam Newton the most is that he's like me. You'll go have a conversation with somebody who you don't get along with, but you have the thought process to hear them out without wanting to fight or combat them. Let me hear their perspective of why they feel this way. And today was the first time ever in my life that I heard Jason Whitlock talk and it makes sense. Because what Jason Whitlock sounds like is Cam Newton's number one fan who was behind the scenes and seen everything play out and just hated that his favorite player, Cam Newton, made some decisions that when he went to bat for him, it made him lose. If that makes sense. Because when you hear him talk about Cam Newton on the show, he's literally talking like Cam Newton's number one fan. Like, he know Cam Newton's mentor. He knew stuff about Cam Newton that none of us knew. And then, you know, when he said one thing specific, that when he talks about black athletes or black celebrities, my spidey sense tenses up and I get cringy and be mad. But in reality, it's like, I probably never listened to Jason Whitlock criticize anybody who's not black. He probably like went in the same on some white celebrities and athletes and coaches. And I just never paid it attention because it's Jason Whitlock. But when he do say something about some black athletes I like, I probably do go to the defense to not hear him out. So it's like, there was a great perspective of the conversation. If y'all get a chance to go watch it. It was crazy for me to see both sides of the coin, but then Cam flip it back to him. You know, some of the points of where he was standing on, where like he couldn't come back Cam back. But ultimately, like, that's the best I seen. Two people that really butt heads, you know, get in a conversation and really hear each other out and come to a consensus at the end of the day, that the conversation that they had boiled down to one point. And the one point that it was is how much of the black athlete's image is a double-sided coin where we play to our culture as opposed to what we know is right. Now let me get y'all there, and I want to hear y'all thoughts about what y'all think about. Here's the kid that come from the 2-parent home that want to be a thug because he want to fit in, because that's what the culture say. You know, the girls don't want the nice guy. You know, it's like Nunu on ATL. She's stealing and putting on the big hoop earrings and popping the bubble gum, but she live in a mansion and she didn't want nobody to know she was a little rich girl. You know, where people are ashamed of having a 2-parent household, or being ashamed that your folks took you to church and had you in church every Wednesday and Sunday of your life, as if it's gonna make you any less black or less of a man. And I was like, man, like, this was a great conversation that they was having, because that's a real thing of like saying, like, is my identity my hair, or is my or like, if I cut my hair, am I selling out? You know, if I get tattoos, am I getting tattoos for the culture, or do the culture care that if I tried to put on for the culture but sacrifice some of my opportunities, that even so much so when something went wrong, people forgot about all the things I did for the culture. It's like, he's stupid. You know, so it's like, that was crazy that they had that back and forth conversation, and it plays into content creation, it's some people that pander to certain audiences. Like, there were some creators that like, yo, man, Buddha he ain't real. He ain't black. He ain't this. He ain't that. Like, nigga, please. Some of y'all be on stage in front of that green screen trying to act like you cool smoking. Trying to show off that one little tattoo of that little thin ass tennis chain you got. Or just trying to put on like that just the super thug. In reality, when I went to some of these events and people see you walk through the door and it's like, I'm 6'1", 225, Aunt Belle is like 6'4", tall, and Lazar is like 6'4", 250, like, and people start turning into cowards, and it's like, man, man, I mean, I just be talking on the game, bro. Like, bro, nobody even be like that, bro. Like, you don't have to get on stage and be somebody you not, because you feel like that's what the culture want. So I never got into the trash talking games and shit, because I'm like, bro, I grew up where if I talk to you a certain way, like, I'm really gonna have to see you. Like, when you really was playing Madden games for money with money on the floor with gold teeth and sticks in the house where you just couldn't, you barely even wanted to celebrate. You doing the Michael Jordan pump if you won some money or something. Like, dice games could get robbed. The Madden game could get robbed. So it's like, I just grew up in a different time. So like, I never played to that, but I could see Cam being from Atlanta, wanting to put on for Atlanta, seeing Pac-Man Jones when he was a kid come through Atlanta. But like, Pac-Man Jones is really one of them ones. Like, everybody from Atlanta ain't Pac-Man Jones and can't really walk the talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the whole point of it, is saying like how much of it is like playing to the culture and how much of it is like, man, that shit really stupid. It's really, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, it was a good trade-off between, when Cam was telling Jason Whitlock about back when he used to be on Pardon the Interruptions with the fly suits and stuff, like, you was there too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that was one of the best conversations I've seen between two people who disagreed, showing that black men can be venomous to each other and be hard on each other, but not fight and still get together and get the bag. Because that was an incredible episode between Cam Newton and Jason Whitlock. It made me look at Jason Whitlock differently. I now look at Jason Whitlock like I look at Charleston White, because of Cam Newton's interview with Jason Whitlock that just aired. So that was a long-winded one, but I was like, man, that was an incredible episode. That was an incredible episode. And he was saying like, when Jordan cut the hair and went clean faced and clean shaven to be Mike, but still did it on the court. Like when LeBron went, with the tattoos and stuff, like, he's like talking about the culture of every rapper want to be a ball player, every ball player want to be a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we see NBA players like drop rap songs and stop playing basketball, it's just like, bro, what? Brother, like, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's like, it was a great conversation in the great divide of like, how do y'all feel about it? Because there's no right or wrong answer. It's just an opinion and perspective. So that was a great conversation that was had. Definitely was a great conversation. But y'all got any questions for the guy? Man, it's been a great shop talk, man. I just knew I had to go in on this QB class. So I'm gonna go on record. And pick my sleeper QB from this draft class. Not Mendoza, Ty Simpson. Like, I think it's unfair if you pick one of those. Like, that's too obvious. So I'm gonna say, of this list of the QBs that's coming out, the one that I think is going to have the most success at the next level. Man, I'm torn between Nussmeier and Carson Beck, because I doubted Carson Beck before, and Carson Beck proved me wrong. But you know what, Carson Beck, you're gonna have to prove me wrong again. I'm gonna say my choice is between Drew Aller and Nussmeier. So I think one of those two guys will wind up being the guy that gets in the right situation and makes the best of a bad situation, which was their 2026 football season was not what they wanted it to be. Didn't turn out the way they wanted it. All right, man. This has been one shop talk. I might pop on later and get on some Fallout because I ain't played Fallout in a few days and I need to finish that before this James Bond comes. Because when this James Bond drop, I'm going to be on the James Bond hard. As always, man, make sure y'all following the YouTube. Make sure y'all following. I'm going to drop a Vintage Titan episode probably in the middle of the week this week. I just got another thrift haul. Came through. If y'all seen the reel today, you know what I'm saying? You seen Unk's little haul today. Dollar Mondays in the thrift. And spend a little time with my kids. So, man, as always, man, God first in the chat. And we'll see y'all on the other side. Hit that subscribe, like, comment, share. Tap into the daily uploads at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you missed the live streams, you got picture in picture. And if I don't get to any questions during the live streams or the pods, drop them in the comments. I'll make it part of the weekly mailbag. If you're following on the blue, smash those reactions. I know you're OG. Hit that like, comment, share. Tap into the daily content that is the shop. If you're new to the shop, you definitely should be tapped in on the green. No ads, up to 50 emotes free for just being a follower. You do not have to be a supporter to unlock picture in picture, late night streams. Follow us on Kick. We also live on Twitch. Look out for the drops, as well as if you have Amazon Prime, it's free $99 to sub to the channel once a month. Don't let Jeff Bezos stick that money back in his pocket. If you don't use it on the shop, use it on another content creator that you like. I still call it Twitter, but follow us on X. We tweet back. If you missed the daily shop talks, make sure you tap in for the late night cap on the purple and the green. The Discord is always open. Outside of subs, donos, and cash apps, there's also another way to support the content. That's by grabbing a trucker hat, a bandana, hoodies, classic barbershop, Vibe Nation, right out of the official merch store on Tactic, formerly known as Geeks Unleashed. Code Buddha at checkout to get